Hello dear students, today's class is on bar graph. So how to draw a bar graph, what is a bar graph and how to interpret data from a given bar graph is our intent for today's class. So what is a bar graph? The bar graph is basically pictorial representation. It's a picture representation of the data that we have. Okay, so here what do we have? We have a data about the marks scored by a student in various subjects. This we have to represent in the form of a picture. Now how do we do it? With the help of rectangles. So let's start with it. So what we actually do over here is we draw an x-axis, we draw a x-axis. This is the x-axis, very sorry. This is the y-axis, okay, and this is called the origin. So we represent always whatever is the first row subject. It can be anything else. The variable that we have is represented in the x-axis, and the marks is the marks will be represented on the y-axis. So we write subjects along x-axis, marks along y-axis. Okay, now how do we represent the subjects? So we will represent it as rectangles of uniform width. That means all the subjects will be represented as a rectangle with uniform width. Now what is the width over here? We'll take it as 1 centimeter. Okay, so we have to write a scale, and the rightmost corner of your graph page you have to write the scale. So x-axis 1 centimeter is equal to each subject. Okay, so we leave 1 centimeter. All of you know the 1 centimeter square. It is the bigger square which is made up of very small millimeter squares, right? So leave 1 centimeter, then take 1 centimeter that represents the first subject, Hindi. Again leave 1 centimeter, then take another 1 centimeter that represents the second subject, maths. Similarly, mark English, science and SST. Okay, in all the cases we are leaving 1 centimeter. The other centimeter represents the width of the rectangle which will represent the marks obtained in Hindi. Then again leave 1 centimeter, then another 1 centimeter which represents maths, and so on. Okay, now the marks obtained, we have to represent that along y-axis. So look at the marks. There it is, maximum marks is 80. So what we will do is we will take 1 centimeter is equal to 10 marks. Represents 10 marks. So 10, 20. So every 1 centimeter, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Okay, now let's start forming the rectangles. So rectangle, the marks in Hindi is 64. So 60 we know, this is 60. Now 4 marks, how do we know where it is? How to represent it? So each 1 centimeter is made up of 10 millimeter squares. So you have to count 4 millimeter squares, and that gives you 64. So draw a thin line from 64, horizontal line, and raise these two dots which represents the width of this rectangle. So we got the rectangle for Hindi. So we write 64 over here. Okay, now this is optional. You can make some design or just leave it. Maths is 40. So draw a thin line, horizontal line from 40. Extend the length of the rectangle which represents maths, we write 40 over here. Next is English, 52. So 50 is over here. Count to millimeter rectangles, squares rather. Squares, not rectangles. So this is 52. Now extend the English ones. This is 52. Similarly, science is 80. So extend the horizontal line from 80, a thin line. This gives you science 80, and finally 36. So 30 and 6 millimeter squares. Draw a thin line, extend this. So we have drawn the bar graph, which is a pictorial representation of this data with the help of rectangles of uniform width. So all of them are 1 centimeter, but varying length, because the length of these rectangles represent the marks obtained in the particular subject. Okay, so this is how you need to draw a bar graph. So these are very important. The scale, then draw the XY axis. You have to write what is represented along x-axis, what is represented along y-axis. So this is your complete bar graph. If you want, you can pause the video here and have a look of the picture. Okay. So let's try to do one more sum. So this is our next sum. So we have data about 4 cities. There are 4 cities: Kolkata, Chennai, Mumbai, Hyderabad. Their distance from Delhi in kilometer has to be represented in the form of a bar graph. So we use the same technique. We draw an x-axis, a y-axis and an x-axis. That's x-axis which represents the city. And we have y-axis which represents the distance from Delhi in kilometer. Okay. So same thing, x-axis, scale, we need to write x-axis, 1 centimeter is equal to 1 city. We know that. So we leave 1 centimeter, take 1 centimeter. This is Kolkata. Again leave 1 centimeter, take 1 centimeter. That's Chennai. Similarly, we have Mumbai. And then we have Hyderabad. Okay. Now look at the distances. They start from 1340. Starts from 1100 actually. So what we'll do is, on the y-axis, we will take 1 centimeter as 500 kilometer. Y-axis, 1 centimeter as 500 kilometer. See here, I am taking it as 500 kilometer because I don't have much space. But in your graph book, you can draw the x-axis at the lowermost point so that you have enough space to write this. And you have lot of space available, so you can change it. Okay, so here I have taken 1 centimeter as 500. You can make it as 2 centimeter 500. Okay, according to your convenience. So 500, this is 1000, then I have 1500, 2000. That's it. We need only till 2000, right? So Kolkata is 1340. Now 500, 1000, 1340 will be 3 small squares, right? That will give me 300, 1300. And between 1300 and 1400, those 2 millimeter squares, I'll take a point, midpoint. That gives me 1340. So I'll draw a thin line here and raise these two. So this gives me Kolkata, which is 1340. Then I have Chennai, 1700. So 1700 is 500 and 2 squares, millimeter squares. So that's Chennai. 1700. Then we have Mumbai, 1100. So 1000 and 100 more. Thin line, Mumbai. And Hyderabad, 1220. So 1000, 2 squares above it. So very near to 134. So it is somewhere over here. So 1220. So this is a bar graph representation of this data. I hope it's clear, everyone. If you have a doubt, you can always post it as a comment. So next we'll do a sum. So here we have the data and we are drawing a bar graph. So now we will do a sum where we already have a drawn bar graph and we have to extract data from that. So let's see how to do it. So here is the sum where you have a given bar graph. So see, the y-axis, x-axis represents the year 2008 to 2012 and y-axis represents wheat production in metric ton. So that means in 2008 the production was 90, 2009 it was 70 metric ton, 2010 85 and so on. Okay, so our question is what information is given. So information given is the production of wheat in metric tons in years in each year from 2008 to 2012. So that is the information that is given in this bar graph. What was wheat production in 2010? So you have to go to 2010 and see it's written 85. So it is 85 metric ton. In which year production was minimum? So we have to find the minimum number, which is 70. So it was in 2009. In which year there was maximum increase in production? So increase, see here it was a decrease. Here it was an increase of 15 metric ton. Here it was an increase of again a 15 metric ton. But in this year there was a maximum increase, right? 30 metric ton. So maximum increase in 2012. And the last question says percentage increase in production. So percentage increase, how do we find percentage increase in production? So the percentage will be increase. How much is the increase? 130 minus 100 by the original into 100, which is equal to 30%. Hope it is clear. Hope your doubts are clear. If you have any further doubts, please write in the comment section and please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. See you in another video. Bye bye.